3:17 a.m. Your eyes are open. The ceiling looks the same as it did 2 hours ago when you first tried to sleep. The room is silent except for the hum of nothing, and inside your skull, a war is raging. It started small, a single thought, maybe something you said at dinner 3 days ago, a sentence that came out wrong, a look on someone's face that you cannot decode. That thought should have passed. It should have floated through your mind and disappeared like every other thought. But it did not. It stopped. It turned around. It looked at you. And then it invited every other thought to join. Now your brain is hosting a convention of your worst fears and biggest regrets. Every mistake you have made since childhood has arrived. Every awkward moment, every failure, every path not taken. They are all here, taking turns at the microphone, reminding you of everything that is wrong with your life. And you cannot make them stop. You try to think about something else. You try to focus on your breathing. You try to tell yourself that this is ridiculous, that none of this will matter in the morning. But your brain does not listen. It has somewhere to be. And that somewhere is the worst-case scenario of everything you have ever worried about. Tomorrow you have things to do, important things. You need to sleep. You know you need to sleep, but knowing that just makes it worse. Now you are thinking about how you are not sleeping. Now you are calculating how many hours you have left before the alarm. Now you are imagining how exhausted you will be. Now you are failing at the one thing humans are supposed to do automatically. And the thoughts keep coming, faster now, darker. What if you made the wrong choice? What if they do not actually like you? What if everything falls apart? What if you are wasting your life? What if this is all there is? At 3 a.m., every question becomes unanswerable. Every problem becomes unsolvable. Every fear becomes a certainty. You are not thinking anymore. You are spiraling. And the spiral only goes down. If this sounds familiar, you are not crazy. You are not broken. You are not even unusual. You are caught in something that neuroscience has only recently begun to understand. A perfect storm of biology, psychology, and timing that turns your own mind into a trap. And tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how that trap works. Because once you see the mechanism, you can finally escape it. Let me take you inside your brain at 3 a.m., because what is happening in there is radically different from what happens during the day, and that difference explains everything. During daylight hours, your prefrontal cortex is in charge. This is the rational part of your brain, the part that plans, the part that evaluates, the part that says, yes, that is a concern, but let us keep it in perspective. Your prefrontal cortex is like a wise judge. It hears the evidence, weighs it fairly, and delivers measured verdicts. When an anxious thought appears during the day, your prefrontal cortex examines it. It asks questions. Is this thought realistic? Is this problem solvable? Is this worth my energy right now? And usually, it dismisses the thought or files it away for later consideration. But here's what happens at 3 a.m. Your prefrontal cortex is asleep. Not metaphorically, literally. The rational judge has gone home for the night. And in its absence, a different part of your brain takes over, the amygdala. Your amygdala is the fear center, the alarm system, the part of your brain that evolved to detect threats and react before thinking. The cortisol levels out, and the thoughts that felt like absolute truth in the darkness become obviously distorted in the light. You have experienced this. You have lain awake convinced that your life was falling apart. Then the sun rose. You made coffee. You started your day, and somewhere in those first morning hours you thought, wait, what was I so upset about? The problem did not change. Your brain chemistry did. This is important. This is evidence. This proves that your 3 a.m. thoughts are not accurate assessments of reality. They are distorted signals from a brain that is chemically compromised. You would not trust your judgment after 3 glasses of wine. Why would you trust your judgment after 3 hours of neurological ambush? Your 3 a.m. thoughts are drunk thoughts. They feel true. They feel urgent. They feel like revelations. But they are lies told by a brain that is in no state to evaluate anything. So what do you do? How do you escape a trap that activates automatically in the dark hours? The first thing you must do is refuse to negotiate. Your 3 a.m. brain wants to solve problems. It will present you with issues and demand solutions. It will make everything feel urgent. It will insist that you must figure this out right now. Do not engage. Not because the problems are not real, but because you are not equipped to solve them in this state. You would not perform surgery while hallucinating. Do not try to reorganize your life while neurologically compromised. When the thoughts come, practice this single response. This is a 3 a.m. thought. I will evaluate it in the morning. Do not argue with the thought. Do not try to disprove it. Just label it and postpone it. You are not ignoring the problem. You are scheduling it for a time when you can actually think clearly. The second thing you must do is break the default mode network loop. Your brain is stuck in self-focus because there is nothing else to focus on. Give it something else. Not your phone. The light will make everything worse. Not television. The stimulation will push sleep further away. Something gentler. An audiobook you have heard before. A podcast with calm voices discussing something unrelated to your life. Instrumental music with no emotional associations. The goal is not entertainment. The goal is to give your default mode network something external to latch onto, to break the loop of self-focus, to give your mind somewhere to go that is not deeper into yourself. The third thing is counterintuitive. Get up. If you have been lying in bed for more than 20 minutes caught in the spiral, staying in bed makes it worse. Your brain begins to associate your bed with anxiety. Your bedroom becomes a trigger. The place where you sleep becomes the place where you suffer. Break that association. Get up. Go to another room. Do something quiet and boring. Read a physical book. Sit in a chair. Let the spiral exhaust itself outside the bedroom. Then return to bed only when the thoughts have slowed. This retrains your brain to associate bed with sleep, not with war. The fourth thing you must do is prepare before the trap activates. Your 3 a.m. brain is fed by unfinished thoughts from the day, the problems you avoided, the emotions you did not process, the tensions you pushed down. They are all waiting for you in the dark. Create a ritual before sleep. Write down anything that is unfinished, not to solve it, just to externalize it. To tell your brain, this is recorded, you do not need to remind me at 3 a.m. This is called a worry dump, and it works because your brain holds on to things it thinks you might forget. When you write them down, you give your brain permission to let go. The fifth thing is the most important. Forgive yourself for the nights you cannot escape. During the day, your prefrontal cortex keeps your amygdala in check. It says, yes, I hear the alarm, but let me evaluate whether the threat is real. But at night, with the prefrontal cortex offline, the amygdala runs unchecked. Every thought becomes a threat. Every memory becomes evidence of danger. Every future possibility becomes a catastrophe waiting to happen. You are not overthinking. Your threat detection system is misfiring in the absence of the part of your brain that would normally correct it. This is the first layer of the trap, but there is more. At 3 a.m., your brain is also doing something called memory consolidation. This is when your mind processes and stores the experiences of the day. It is supposed to happen while you're asleep, but if you are awake, you become conscious of this process, and it is not pleasant. During consolidation, your brain pulls up memories, but not random memories. It prioritizes emotional memories, unresolved memories, memories with loose ends. This is why you suddenly remember that embarrassing thing from 7 years ago. This is why unfinished conversations replay on loop. This is why old regrets feel fresh and immediate. Your brain is not torturing you. It is trying to do maintenance. But you are awake for surgery that was supposed to happen under anesthesia, and it hurts. This is the second layer of the trap. Now let me show you the third layer, and this one is the cruelest. At 3 a.m., your brain activates something called the default mode network. This is the part of your brain that turns on when you are not focused on the external world. It is the network responsible for self-reflection, self-analysis, thinking about yourself in relation to others, thinking about your past and future. During the day, you move in and out of this network. You get absorbed in tasks. You focus on external problems. The default mode network takes breaks. But at 3 a.m., lying in the dark with nothing to focus on, the default mode network runs continuously. And here is what researchers have discovered. In people with anxiety and depression, the default mode network is hyperactive. It does not just reflect. It rumbles, it spirals, it gets stuck in loops of self-critical thinking that feel impossible to escape. At 3 a.m., you are lying in the perfect conditions for a default mode network storm. No external focus, no distractions, nothing but you and your thoughts about yourself. And the thoughts are not kind. Because there is one more piece of this puzzle: cortisol, your stress hormone. In a healthy sleep cycle, cortisol is at its lowest in the first half of the night. It begins rising around 3 a.m., slowly increasing to prepare your body for waking. This is normal. But if you are already awake, that rising cortisol does not gently prepare you for morning. It amplifies whatever state you are already in. If you are anxious, you become more anxious. If you are spiraling, you spiral faster. If you are trapped in negative thoughts, the thoughts become more intense. The cortisol rise is like pouring gasoline on a fire that was already burning. Now let me put this all together so you can see the full trap. At 3 a.m., your rational brain is offline. Your threat detection system is running unchecked. Your brain is surfacing emotional memories for processing. Your self-reflection network is in overdrive with nothing to focus on but yourself. And your stress hormones are rising, amplifying everything. This is not a fair fight. This is not you failing to control your thoughts. This is a neurological ambush. Your brain has created the perfect conditions for suffering, and you are conscious for all of it. No wonder you cannot think straight. No wonder everything feels worse. No wonder problems that seem manageable at noon feel unsurvivable at 3 a.m. The darkness is not just outside your window, it is in your neurochemistry. But here is what nobody tells you. The trap has an expiration time. Everything your brain is doing at 3 a.m. reverses by morning. Your prefrontal cortex comes back online, the amygdala calms down, the default mode network gets interrupted by external focus. You will not beat this every time. There will be nights when the trap closes and you are stuck until morning. Nights when nothing works. Nights when you watch the clock move from 3 to 4 to 5 and the thoughts never stop. Those nights do not mean you are failing. They mean you are human. They mean your brain is doing something it was never designed to do, being conscious during a process meant to happen in sleep. Be gentle with yourself on those nights. Do not add self-judgment to the pile. The spiral is painful enough without you making it mean something about your worth. Here is what I need you to remember. The 3 a.m. version of your life is not the real version. It is a funhouse mirror. Everything is distorted. Everything is exaggerated. Everything looks monstrous because you are seeing it through a brain that is chemically incapable of perspective. The problems you see at 3 a.m. are not as big as they appear. The failures you relive are not as defining as they feel. The future you fear is not as certain as your amygdala insists. You are not seeing clearly. You are seeing through darkness, and darkness distorts everything. Morning will come. It always does. The light will return. Your prefrontal cortex will clock back in. The rational judge will resume the bench, and the thoughts that seemed so devastating will shrink back to their actual size. You will look at what haunted you and wonder how it ever seemed so large. This is not weakness. This is neurology. This is a brain doing strange things in strange hours. This is human. So the next time you find yourself awake at 3 a.m., thoughts spiraling, chest tight, mind racing through every fear you have ever had, I want you to remember this. You are not broken. You are caught in a trap that your brain built without your permission. The trap is temporary. The darkness is temporary. The thoughts are not truth. They are symptoms, and symptoms pass. Breathe. Label the thoughts as 3 a.m. thoughts. Give your mind somewhere else to go, and wait for the light, because it is coming. It is always coming. And when it arrives, you will see clearly again. The night lies, but the morning tells the truth. Trust the morning.